So what is Joe Biden? What is Joe Biden's vision for America? You know, he's out on the campaign trail, and he's talking about a lot of things. I think he was unfairly dissed for biting his wife's finger.
Yeah.
That was a joke, and if you actually watch it, it was fine. It was, him trying to be funny.
Yeah, questionable whether you should do it in an appearance, but I mean, it was just
right. But
it was supposed to be a warm moment between husband and wife. I don't know that it came off that way exactly.
Well, because Joe is a little creepy.
He's weird.
He's a little creepy, and he did say this in a speech, which somebody's got to stop him. Here it is.
And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I don't. I wouldn't include that in the stump speech. Exactly. It is. You're right. Michael Jackson said basically the same thing in his weird interview.
We go back to Michael Jackson. We're like, how did we miss this?
Yeah.
Are we going to go back to Joe Biden and say, how did we miss this? I don't think that he's a child molester.
No.
I don't think that. I think he is. I think he's a little weird. I think he's
very handsy.
But not with children. I think he's probably more handsy.
He's handsy with children, for sure.
He is, but I don't think that's a sexual predator thing.
I don't think so either.
Right, but there is the doubt that if I don't care if you're Jill Biden, you have to recognize, good Lord, Joe, what were you when they got in the car? That's what Jill should have said. What were you thinking? Do you know what that sounds like?
Oh my
God. I
God.
didn't mean it that way.
Yeah, how is he not aware of this, right?
Right.
You can't explain this away with a stuttering article, which is what they tried to do with his speech issues, his forgetting things, his not being able to find the right words. There's a big expose that came out that he was a stutterer, and that's the reason. It's all coming back now.
Oh, it's all coming
which
back.
is not medically normal for it to come back after you've cured it, which they do put in paragraph 85 of the article or so. But just stop and think, because that's a ridiculous moment. Right, the idea of I love having kids jump on my lap. You could certainly you could dismiss that with a grandfatherly thing, but step back for a moment and picture what he has just described. Think of if you walked into a public pool and there are a bunch of kids around a guy and they're rubbing his legs down to watch the hair on his legs stand back up. You are calling the police in this situation, are you not?
And I don't believe that any kid would notice that on their own.
No.
I mean, that would be like, you would have to question the kids. Did you notice that, or did he point that out?
Right.
Like, look, kids, you can rub my leg. It's just weird.
It sounds like the guy who in an airplane that comes in. You ever been to a Turkish prison? It's like that guy. It seems like. You ever see hair stand up on somebody's leg? Watch this. Try it. That's what it kind of seems like.
It does.
Now I don't know why. I feel like there are definitely people who said the exact same things as Joe Biden, and I would think they were doing something illegal. I don't think it with Joe Biden. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's famous. Maybe because he's goofy. I don't know what the reason is. But it is something that normally statements like that are like the defining moment of a campaign. It's like, would you rather be a person who's like, you know what? I told a story about I was in a pool and a bunch of kids rubbed down my legs, and then I said I like kids hopping on my lap. Would you rather have that moment, or I wore a helmet in a tank? Like Dukakis is like, what the hell? I was in a tank. Yes, my helmet was a little goofy. I lost it because of that.
Even Ross Perot was like, yes, I had satellite dishes for ears, and I said a lot of crazy things, but it wasn't like that.
Come on.
Yeah.
And it's funny, now we have two candidates here. If it's Biden versus Trump, you've got two candidates who have said things that don't always come off right.
At the time of Me Too.
At the time of Me Too.
At the time of Me Too, with these two guys, it's insane.